Texas Governor Greg Abbott is sending nearly $9 million to the South Plains to boost electric reliability. The Texas Energy Fund has chipped in on 4 projects with Lamb County Electric Cooperative in Lamb and Hockley counties. 2 of them will replace 13.5 miles of aging transmission lines to cut down on outages, maintenance, and lower the risk of wildfires. Another project adds a new transformer at the Opie Dyke substation, giving it more capacity to deliver power. It will also update controlled systems so crews can respond faster in an emergency and restore power more quickly. Nearly 2,400 co-op members are expected to benefit from these upgrades.